In this video, we're going to discuss regions and those pesky telegrams you've been getting. These telegrams are recruitment telegrams. They've been trying to get you to join them in their region. But before we do that, it's important to know what regions have to offer and why you might be interested in one over another. As we can see, Sold Notran is located in the North Pacific. The North Pacific is a game-created region, GCR, that is considered to be a feeder, a region in which new nations spawn. The other feeders include the East Pacific, the South Pacific, the West Pacific, and simply the Pacific. You'll see these commonly referred to as TEP, TSP, and so on. There's a lot of jargon in this game, and I'm just going to try to introduce it to you as soon as possible. So by clicking on this link in the sidebar, we'll see the World Factbook entry of the North Pacific. Here we'll see the Discord chat, links to the forum, ways to get involved, as well as the Regional Handbook, and we'll get back to this later. As we continue to scroll down, we'll see the current regional government of the North Pacific, some popular dispatches such as the Northern Lights, which is our regional newspaper. Scrolling down, you'll see today's World Census report, which ranks all the nations in the region by national statistics, and you can see where you stand up. You'll see the regional happenings, which will be more important later, as well as the regional message board, the RMB. This is basically one long thread that stretches back to the beginning of the region, where nations in the region post to communicate with each other. And of course, we can post there as well. There are a few rules for posting on the RMB, and we can head over to the One-Stop Rules shop to see these. You've already agreed to them in the terms and conditions, but don't worry about it too much for right now. There are quite a few rules that you do have to be worried about eventually, but at the beginning, when you're just starting out, the two main ones that you want to be worried about are spam. You can't post multiple posts in a row on the regional message board, and you can never have more than one WA nation at the same time. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to create multiple nations. On the contrary, the game encourages that. It just means you can't join the WA with two nations at the same time. So let's go back over here, scroll all the way back up to the Regional Handbook. And here, this will detail, ways to get involved in TNP. It'll check out the onboarding checklist, regional publications, and then other useful links, miscellaneous links at the bottom. And we'll go over to why you should be in TNP. Some of these points will be difficult to understand for a new nation, but in short, TNP is one of, if not the single strongest regions in the game, and offers plentiful opportunities for newcomers to get involved. Boy, that took a long time to load. And then always make sure to, hit the up button over here because you like the dispatch. Regions typically will offer a few things, things to do, people to meet, a nice atmosphere, and so on. TNP has the most powerful region in the World Assembly, but we haven't even covered what the World Assembly is yet. I promise I'll get there. It'll have, one of the strongest militaries, the strongest gameplay communities, democracies, which is very important for newcomers, believe it or not, and best opportunities for new nations to get involved. So let's go up to your telegrams, which have been stacking up, and you'll see quite a few of these here. Reading through them, you'll find that some will try to promise you literally everything. Others will be more specific and only target certain audiences. And yet others will, reveal their desperation in an attempt to show you what you can build there and what you can do in that region. So going back to the Regional Handbook, and to why you should be involved in the North Pacific, I'm just gonna say this once and for all. This really gets to the core of nation states. You may have noticed that while answering your issues is cool, can get boring after a while. Sure, there are over 1,000 different issues, but nonetheless, answering them can get old. NationStates is very, and I really hate to use this word, meta. In my mind, it's all about politics and government. It's about writing constitutions, building institutions, getting elected, serving the people, seeking power, keeping it, and maybe even abusing it. But it's also a very social, psychological game. In order to get there, you have to build trust, know when to backstab, and know how to build loyalty and build a following. It's gritty, it's manipulative, and it can be heart-wrenching at times. You make friends, but also tough decisions. Your influence can be the rise and very fall of regions. It's a game about leadership. It's a sandbox to test out ideas that might not work in the real world. It's so much, much more than simply answering issues. But here's the thing. What region you ultimately end up in is unimaginably significant in the experience you will have on NationStates. You can always switch regions when you want, but doing so can be difficult, especially if you're leaving behind friends and shared experiences. Joining a UCR through one of these recruitment telegrams could work out swimmingly, but you're taking a chance that you'll be interested in that region in the long term and that they will help you along and get you started. And while I can't vouch for other regions, I can vouch for the North Pacific. Believe it or not, but I'm actually a relatively new nation here myself. I've only been in this region for about 2.5 months. Yes, I do have other experience elsewhere, and I've already found a home here. The North Pacific has so many things to offer, from a strong regional military to the ability for new nations to join the executive staff and start working their way up the government ranks. In the executive staff, you get to influence the World Assembly Delegates' WA vote, which we'll get to later, help write articles for the Northern Lights, participate in the NBS radio show, manage cultural events, help bring new nations like yourself into the fold, and serve as a foreign ambassador to other regions. You can participate in hearty roleplay, both on the RMB and on the offsite forums. We have an exceedingly active community, and there are always people to talk to. And the simple fact of the matter is that other regions simply can't offer that. As the largest region in the game, the North Pacific has both the numbers and the diversity to provide an unrivaled experience. After years abroad in UCRs, I myself have returned to the North Pacific as a bastion of activity and hope for a better future. I strongly encourage you to stay here, seriously, or join TNP if you're in another feeder. Of course, you're ultimately welcome to make your own decision. That's all for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, I will discuss the North Pacific in more depth and help you get started in this magnificent region. This is NBS, your compass for navigating the region and the wider NS world. Thanks so much for listening.